especially when it's crawling up Remic's arm.
Ugh.
And it crawled up Remic's arm, like Remick like spins around in his chair like a James Bond villain, like Captain Picard. And it crawls up his arm, and he opens his mouth, and it starts to crawl in his mouth,
and then his neck starts
like bulging out. And
he's like, "We only want peaceful coexistence."
And they're like, "Rah!" And they're like, "Fuck this shit!" And they phaser him to death, and he blows up.
And they see that the mama thing is inside him. Like, this is like really disgusting stuff. Like, it's really upsetting.
It looks like some like Reanimator shit, you know, like like
low budget
like
horror
The Fly.
I can't believe they got away with that on TV.
Yeah, you can't do that on television.
Yeah, it's pretty graphic. But so they're like, we win, and they go back up to the ship. But then Data's like, So it turns out Remick was setting a homing beacon for Earth out to this other quadrant, and so they're headed this way, and it just ends on the sound of the bing, bing.
Yeah, which was pretty haunting.
Haunting. It's a haunting week.
But Data says like it's a homing beacon like sent from Earth, and everyone's like, oh shit. So,
but apparently, according to Mary Beth, it never pays off.
I think it does though.
Oh, okay.
I think because I was reading the coming of age Wikipedia page, and it says like this begins a storyline that culminates in this episode, and it said there's another episode.
Oh, okay.
So
so hopefully we'll get some closure on
these grody,
creepy
Sledgehammer
video extras.
Our last episode, and the last episode of season 1. We're done with season 1.
Dunzo.
On to season 2.
Onward and upward.
According to
popular opinion,
quality does go up. Neutral zone. In this episode, there's some shit going on with the Romulans.
Right.
In the neutral zone, and they might have to go to war.
Star bases are being destroyed.
And meanwhile, they have defrosted 3 people from the 21st century.
Right, they find a satellite. While Picard's getting, I guess, the briefing on the Romulans in the neutral zone, they find a satellite that's got all these cryogenic chambers in it, and most of the people have died, but
and
3 are still preserved.
One of them remembers Star Trek 2, and they're like, don't open those!
Right.
And they're like, I'm sure they're fine.
And so they open them.
And you get the Gordon Gekko of the Star Trek universe.
Right.
A man who speaks solely in metaphors and idioms.
He's a distant relative of Dr. McCoy, I think.
And a hysterical woman who just cries.
Cries and cries.
Cries and cries. So they
she faints when she first sees Worf, which was kind of an eye roller.
Yeah. Of course the woman does. A woman couldn't possibly deal with that.
The score gets funny. It's like, wah, wah, wah.
Women.
There's a trope that I hope has been retired for good.
Seriously. And so her main thing is like, she's like, I miss my family. Like, I died and now I'm alive and everyone else is dead.
And her husband did it without her permission. Like,
yeah.
She died and he was like, get her into cryo.
Well, like, that's what she assumed. She's like, I can tell you what happened is I died and my husband couldn't deal with it, so he froze me. So in his mind, I'm not really gone.
Right.
But okay, the fuck.
Right.
Meanwhile, like the good old boy, like he's like doing just fine.
He loves it.
Like they
show him the replicator.
He wants a Kansas City steak with some homemade
country fried potatoes and a mess of greens.
And he's like, the hell, they just give me a martini. So I'm like, are you hungry or do you want some booze? Like, what the fuck's going on?
He can't decide.
And
he's hungry and he's an alcoholic.
And he decides that it's the best martini he's ever tasted. And Data at one point asked him, he's like, what? Which I thought this was really cool. And he's like, you seem to be adapting like more easily than the other two. Like, what's going on? He's like, hell, man, it's the same dance, just a different song. And like I said, that's all he talks in metaphors and idioms. Like that's all he ever says.
You know what's interesting about the martini?
It's not the same song.
No, the martini. I was thinking about this because we've seen the clip of later on in 10-4, the Enterprise bar. Whenever Scotty's looking for real alcohol, and all they serve at that bar is synthahol. So, can you get real booze from a replicator?
Probably.
So probably real alcoholics aren't going to bars
because
anymore.
he
says that the effects are shaken off easier.
Well, no, the guy says in this episode, he says he's like, you guys don't watch TV and you don't really drink,
right?
So I think I think he got the
flavor, but it
Yeah.
didn't get him drunk.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. All right, continuity preserved.
Yeah, because well, I mean, I think it. Well, they said the effects are easily shaken off, so it's like, oh, I'm feeling kind of drunk. You drink some water, and you're done. You're fine.
done.
But he does make kind of a mention because I thought about that too. He makes a mention to. He says something like, yeah, they don't really drink, so
Right.
it makes me think that like he did get the fake alcohol, the synthahol or whatever,
Right.
Synth oil,
Synthahol.
synthetic oil.
Yeah.
Castrol
At one point, he's
GX.
trying to talk Crusher into giving him some like codeine. Or
Yeah.
whatever.
He's like, I have a crazy headache.
I got something to bring in the day and shut it down at night. And she's like, no. And he pats her on the ass.
He takes a shining to
Data.
Data for sure.
Everybody takes a shine to Data. Who wouldn't?
And he says, after this, well, how about we go find us some low mileage pit wolfies, which I looked up. Apparently, it's like what groupies are to bands. That's what pit wolfies are to like NASCAR.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Low mileage meaning young, I
Yeah.
guess, like teenagers.
Yeah, low mileage.
Some underage girls
Yeah.
to fuck. Data's like, sounds like fun.
Like he's so trusting.
Right.
Data, don't do it.
Well, at one point he's like, let's have us a party. And
He's like,
Data's
a celebration?
Like, okay.
He's
like
like
he's into the idea.
And he's like, well, not like a celebration, not really like that. Just something to do.
Some suds, like.
And he gets
some tunes, some suds.
He gets Data to replicate him with badass acoustic guitar,
like some really not masculine
like
decoration,
garish, like
a 14-year-old girl would decorate,
like a Lisa Frank-esque like acoustic guitar
with his name on it.
Sonny.
I think also the fact that his name is Sonny doesn't help.
And then there's the Gordon Gekko character who's like, I need you to take me to my bank and contact my lawyer.
My portfolio,
my stocks and bonds and whatnot.
Yeah.
And he actually interrupts a conference meeting with Picard and Riker.
He figures out how the comm works.
And Picard goes down there and he's like, don't you ever fucking touch that again. He's like, you fucking idiot. Don't you understand? Like, I need to talk to my lawyer. He's like, your lawyer's fucking dead. He's like, he was a partner at the biggest firm, and so someone's going to have to be taking care of my account, I assure you. And Picard's like, look, dude, don't fucking touch that shit. Fucking
knock it off.
Knock it off. We're in a dangerous situation here. And
the guy kind of backs down.
And then he's like, look, I'm sorry.
I'm just used to being in control of
my
mind.
I'm always in charge, and this is kind of fucking with me. I hope that makes sense. And Picard's like, dude, that's the first thing you've said that makes any goddamn sense.
Picard, it should be noted, is really bummed that they saved these people because it's a massive distraction from his assignment. Like, he's like, well, now we have to treat them like living people.
Yeah.
Because they weren't technically alive.
Yeah, they were frozen.
Right.
And
so they could have left them.
And so Picard is like, all right, look, we'll see what we can do. I got to take care of this first.
Right.
But,
just hang tight,
dude. Like, we haven't forgotten about you. Just, all right.
We're trying to save the universe.
I was like, I'll be back. And then he's like, tells the other two, like, don't you understand? Like, something's going on that affects us too, because we're on the ship too. Ah!
We should be in charge.
And he goes to the elevator.
He figures out what a turbo lift is. He's like, oh, just like a 20th century elevator.
And he's like, where will the captain be? He's like, Captain Picard is on the bridge. He's like, well, fucking take me to the bridge. And he shows up while they're like negotiating with the Romulans.
That's right. So they've been trying to find star bases, and they just keep coming up empty. It's like they never even existed.
And the Romulans they've got star bases of their own that are being destroyed.
And I thought that was a great moment. Like, the bridge crew is like, dude, put the shields up. We need to go to red alert. And Picard's like, not yet.
Yellow alert.
Yeah, well, they want red alert, and then they settle for yellow alert.
And Troy had given him like a primer on Romulans. She's like, look, like, she's like, they won't initiate. They'll wait for you. And Picard's like, counter punches, of course. Like the ancient art,
ancient boxing,
pugilistic art.
It was a really frightening moment when the thing first, opens up, materializes in front of them, or decloaks, I guess. And you're like, oh shit.
And
Riker's like, it's beautiful, or something like that.
So Offenhouse is his name, the Gordon Gekko.
Right.
Offen, of course, is like Cornelius Offenhouse.
Right.
Whatever. He shows up, and the Romulans are like, they say something, and they're like, our bases have been destroyed as well. How do you explain that? And Picard doesn't know what to say, and Offenhouse, like the master of negotiations that he is, he's like, "Those motherfuckers don't know. They're trying to see if you guys know." And Riker's like, "Get that fucker off the bridge!"
And Picard's like, he's
like,
right.
"Get the fucker off the bridge." But yeah, he's right. Like that's for sure. Like, good on you, Offenhouse.
Right.
And so, the woman, they end up finding like her great grandson who looks like her husband. So are they gonna fuck? Like,
yeah, she's like,
like she's like, that's my husband. She's
the
like,
lady will have a
like
slice of that.
And Troy is like, no, that's like your like
10 generations down the line.
Which I guess at that point, like
they're far enough removed. That,
yeah, I mean that's like someone like you're basically not even related anymore. So they could like
they could. Totally,
and apparently he looks just like her husband.
It would be really hard for her not to try to fuck this person.
And she's like, that's a spitting image. She's like, that's my husband. That's a spitting image of him.
Don't tell them I'm back. I'm going to see if I can score on my own.
Look,
I'll wait till we're married and we've got a couple kids.
Hey,
guess what?
Do you want to know why little Janie has to wear a helmet? Well, I have something to tell you. And so,
So they have a conversation. Picard proposes cooperation between them while they try to figure out this problem.
Yeah, they're like, "Hey, well, we're getting our starbase destroyed. You're getting your starbase destroyed. Let's work
share
on this.
information on this one thing."
And the Romulans are like, "Dope," and they dip out.
But they're like, "But keep in mind, like, we're back."
Yeah,
like it's
back for an attack, motherfucker.
And I really like that. It like sets the tone.
Yeah,
like it's like. Like it ups the ante, which is what a season finale should do.
Yeah, for sure. And so Picard's like, "All right, you guys can go back to Earth, and see you later."
Right. In season 1.
Yeah, Riker makes this weird comment about, like, "Oh, it's a shame that they could stick around with us," and everyone's like, "Shut up!" Like,
yeah, it's like, why would you?
Except for Sonny, because he seemed just like roll with the punches. He like. Shiz, the 2400s, I'm on a spaceship, and,
my music's going to be brand new.
It's like, yeah, exactly.
It's like classical music now.
Classical country. You don't like country at all, do you?
Not really, no.
It's a shame.
Nashville is not a pretty place.
Have you been to Nashville? No.
But that's not why. I meant, like, the style. The Nashville country, I can't stand. Like, when you're talking about Hank Williams or whatever, like, I don't love it, or Johnny Cash. I don't love it, but it doesn't bother me. Like when you get into like Nashville country, about like if you don't buy my record, Al Qaeda wins and shit like that.
Is that
was a Simpsons joke? I don't know if it's Nashville country. Like just that whole pickup truck like bullshit. It's the equivalent of Katy Perry, but even.
Have you ever driven a pickup truck?
I think I have. Probably. I think I drove my grandpa's once.
When you were like 6? You're on his lap?
No.
That's a country song right there.
It's true. I think there's just something sleazy about a lot of country music. I don't want to blanket.
Oh, yeah, because rock and roll is so, like, pure and honest and innocent.
It's different. It's a different sort of sleaze I can deal with.
It's like glitz and glamour sleaze. Country.
Versus, like, glorifying, like, a horrible lifestyle. And maybe it's because I live in Texas and I'm like, it's like celebrating ignorance. It's like, yeah, fuck it. We're small town. We're stupid. And we're proud of it. Like, I never got that.
I think you're just listening to the wrong country.
Probably. I mean, this is just stuff I've heard on the radio.
Like George Jones, he stopped loving her today. Like, dude, Chris Carrabba, like Dashboard Confessional, the Get Up Kids, like they wish they could fucking write a song like that. It's a song, He Stopped Loving Her Today. I remember the first time I heard the song title, I was like, oh, it's about a guy who, like, gets over, like, finally gets over that girl who, like, that broke his heart, that old filly that broke his heart.
Right.
No, it's about a guy who dies, and that's why he stopped loving her.
Nice.
Like, he's dead now, and that's how, that's how his story comes to a close.
I think also the iconography of the genre bugs me a lot. Like the
old Stars and Bars.
the stars and bars, the cowboy hats. Well, like that, I know he's not really around anymore, but Garth Brooks, you know, like
that was my homie. That was my jam back in the day.
Which is fine for other people, but like to me, it's sort of just like not some. It's not a lot.